Last week, for the first time in my life, I heard this. That's the sound of my future child's heartbeat. And it got me thinking about how much can change in just 3 years and the lessons that I want to teach to my future kid. Let's rewind to 3 years ago. I was struggling in my business. The economy had come to a halt and business was slowing down because nobody wanted to meet during the pandemic. At the same time, the stock market was crashing. And in my head, I was very worried that my clients would be mad because a lot of them were invested and I had told them to be invested in the stock market. I was invested myself and I was watching my own money go down as month after month we were losing money in the business. It was very stressful. I was in panic mode and I was thinking of all the worst case scenarios, like what if we can't afford to have our assistant? What if we let down all the people who really count on the business and all the people that we're able to help? And it really sucked because for the first time in my life, I had found something that I loved doing. I'd gone all the way to Los Angeles to go to grad school and all these different things. And all of it had really led to nothing until I found financial planning, which is something I really enjoy doing. So I was really stressed out, didn't know what to do. So I called a friend of mine who also had a business. And as we were talking, she was giving me all these ideas for things we could do to survive or backup plans. Things like maybe we could go work nights at the grocery store or sell items online. And as she was doing this, in my mind, I started thinking that I just wanted to give up. It'd be good to have that closure of just knowing like, this is it. We gave it our best shot, but we didn't make it through. But then she said something that really shocked me. She said, why don't we just go volunteer, go to a soup kitchen, help out homeless people? At first, I was like kind of angry that she said that. I was like, I can barely take care of myself. Why are you suggesting that we go out and help other people? But then something in my head told me that it was a good idea. So I tried it and it actually changed my life. To feel better, you gotta get outside yourself and help others. The first person I called is an old friend. His name's Sunny G. He's a local comedian and he's someone who's completely blind. And he works with many nonprofits helping blinded kids and blinded veterans in the community. I gave him a call and asked him if I could help with anything. And he said his organization was doing fine, but he was putting on a comedy show to raise money for other organizations that were struggling. And he said, yeah, I could help with setup, with transportation and things like that. So I said, yeah, I'd love to help. So we went there, I got to see him do comedy. It was hilarious, it was a really good time, but they ended up raising thousands of dollars for homeless veterans. It just got me thinking, like I told him, I'm so inspired that you're able to take something you love doing like comedy and use it to help a cause that's important to you. It almost seems like it's perfect. And then he told me his story. He told me about how he became blind, how he was able to get out of the pits of despair and really help people in the community and find that purpose. I realized I had been so foolish for being ungrateful for all the blessings in my life. Here I was, someone who's completely healthy, and I was worried about these minor financial issues, despite being a financial planner for a living. I'm the person who's most suited to solve financial issues. That's what I do all day. So it helped me to step outside myself and really see the problem for what it is. And what I realized is it was an opportunity. The market was crashing, and all throughout my career, I'd always understood you buy low, sell high. You buy when there's blood in the streets, as Warren Buffett would say. So I started calling my clients, inspired by that, and I told them now's the time to invest. And many of them did, and it was a great decision. There are actually studies done where people were told to do random acts of kindness, like giving up their bus seat to a stranger, opening the doors to people, even just smiling at someone. And they found that people who did that reported much higher levels of happiness and well-being than people who didn't. So it's actually good for your health to get outside yourself and help others. Which leads me to my next point. Do things you can be proud of. Every morning, I like to ask myself one question. What's one thing I could accomplish today that would make me proud? Where I could just look back and say like, wow, I really did that. Sometimes it's not a lot. Sometimes it's something small, like just getting the dishes done, cleaning the house. And other times it's something big, like buying a house or making this video. Either way, when you do this, it provides you with many benefits, including making sure that you're moving in the direction that you want to move. And that provides a sense of motivation because you can see yourself having these small wins, which over time can lead to bigger and bigger wins. I even use this in my financial planning business. Oftentimes clients will have big long-term goals, but I always make sure that they have small milestones that they're hitting on the way that can help them to have the motivation to see it through until the end of their goal. One time where I was able to live this out in the past 3 years, a lady from our church had an idea of packing these care packages for homeless people during the pandemic. And as we were packing them up, putting in the toiletries, putting in the snacks and everything, I remember thinking and then saying out loud, who's going to pass these out to the homeless people? Are we going to give it to the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and maybe they're going to do it for us? And she said, to my shock, we're going to do it. We're going to be the ones who are going to go hand the goodie bags to them. And immediately I started thinking of everything that could go wrong. What if someone gets offended and they're like, this is just how I dress. I'm not homeless. Like, why are you trying to give me stuff? And I just started getting in my head again, just like I was before. But the situation came up when I was at an overpass where I saw this lady who just looked so sad, so dejected. She just had this look of hopelessness in her eyes. And I knew I had the goodie bag in my trunk. But then again, in my head, I was thinking, what if the light turns green, people start honking, all these things that could go wrong. And then finally, I just told my mind to shut up. I knew the right thing to do was to get out of the car. So I parked the car, went to the trunk, got it, gave it to her. And then I saw one of the biggest, most genuine smiles that I've ever seen on someone's face, and in someone who was in a much worse situation than most of the people I knew. It was then that I knew it was a turning point, that you can choose when you feel uncomfortable to do things that will make you a better person and mold you into the type of person you want to be. Not only when you do this does it make you a better person, it makes you more confident, which helps you with your relationships, your business, because you can see yourself becoming a better version of you. Once you're consistently doing things you can be proud of, the next step is to raise the bar. Raising the bar is a term that originates from the Olympic sport of pole vaulting. And it's where they literally raise the bar until the pole vaulter can no longer jump over it. And at that point in time, they know just how high they're capable of going. The same is true in your life. In anything that's important to you, you want to consistently raise the bar, raise the standard so you know what you're capable of achieving, so you know what you're truly made of. Recently, I talked about it earlier, I got married. We have a kid on the way. And I found that just like when you first go to college, it's very common for newlywed, especially newlywed men, to gain weight. I was starting to get kind of chunky, and people would often say like, oh, it's happy fat. Well, it's good that you're happy and fat or whatever. And I would say I'd rather be happy and fit. So I started going back to running and doing things like that I used to do. Back in the day, I was able to run 12 miles in the heat without stopping. But now when I got back to it had been many years, I could only go 0.7 miles the first time without having to stop and catch my breath. And even then, I felt like I was going to die. But I kept sticking with it, and I was able to get to 3.1 miles, and then 3.5 miles, and then 4 miles. And each time I hit that milestone, I remember just feeling so good. I would raise my hands up, and I felt like Rocky, and people were looking at me like I was crazy, but I was just like so excited that I was able to get to that next level. Now, if you really want to have fuel for what you want to achieve, pick something that's important to you and then consistently raise the bar. Whether it's spiritually, I did that recently with, joining a church that pushed me to go very deep when it comes to my spirituality. One principle that's a huge part of this is to track your progress. It's very easy to think about this when it comes to physical fitness. If you're lifting weights, keep track of how many reps you're doing, how many sets, and look to see that improvement over time. This will give you a lot of motivation, and seeing your progress will give you that fuel that you need to keep going and see it through to your big long-term goals. Which leads me to my final point. Never leave important things unsaid. And some of the things that I think are important to say to people are not small things, but things like, if you care about someone, they mean a lot to you, letting them know. Telling people that you love them and not just keeping it inside. Or if someone's wronged you, forgiving them, even if you don't necessarily let them back in your life, but just having that forgiveness so you can unburden yourself from having to just carry around that hatred or resentment that you have around that person. Another thing is telling people that you're sorry when you messed up. Recently, I was a little bit rude to someone and I gave them a call and I told them, I'm sorry that I did that. I realized that could be kind of rude. And person didn't even really mind. It seemed like it wasn't a big deal, but was very grateful. And it just made me feel better to know that I was able to get that off my chest. So when it comes to big things like forgiving people, saying you're sorry, telling people that you care about them, or just showing gratitude, make sure that you're doing it. It costs nothing, and it's something that's really helpful and can mean a lot to other people. I think a huge thing that I want to teach, future generations, I have my future kid on the way, is that clear communication can really make the world a better place. So with that being said, if you want to have an impact on the world, you want to make things better, I hope that you will take the time to help others, that you'll consistently do things that you can be proud of, raise the bar, and finally, that you'll never leave important things unsaid or leave important things undone. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my newsletter, and I'm going to give you a special 7-day challenge, completely free, that will help you to live out the principles of this video. If you love the video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you like it, make sure to send it to a friend, and thanks for watching.